Guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be going over the best 3-day split to build muscle and lose body fat in only 3 hours a week. Now, if you've been spinning your wheels trying to build muscle, lose fat at the same time, listen up, boys, because I'm going to give you, in my opinion, the best 3-day training plan that I've come across. Okay, I've used this in 17 years of training, 5 years of coaching. This is how you transform your body as quick as possible to build muscle and lose fat. I've done it with over 700 clients, and it goes a little something like this. First things first, the kind of system we're going to use is called GBC. It stands for German Body Composition Training. Don't ask why it's German, don't understand. Well, we know why it's German, but you get what I mean. Now, this is, in my opinion, the best way to build muscle, not only as a beginner, guys, but as an intermediate lifter as well. It's 3 days a week. It's do a day, miss a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, okay? I'm going to break down exactly how to run the 3 sessions, rest, weight, time, pump, strength, recovery, all that stuff. So just stick with me, okay? Now, I'm going to have the first session. We're going to have a session A, B, and C. Ideally, you want to run it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The goal is you do a session, have a day off, do a session, have a day off, do a session, have 2 days off. Remember, we do not grow in the gym, we grow outside of the gym. So this is how session A is going to look. So I'm going to have it pop up on the screen here. You'll notice we have things like A1 and A2, B1 and B2, C1 and C2, and then D1 and D2. So these are paired back to back. So I just kind of want to break down how the session should look. When you're talking about pairing exercises, this is really effective for a beginner. It's really effective for someone that's not great in the gym, but it's also really effective for someone that's time poor. This is 3 sessions a week. This is done in 1 hour, okay? And A1 and A2 are run together, but it is not a superset, okay? A superset is when you'd run a bench press into a fly or whatever. And what happens is by the time you get to the fly, your chest is already cooked and you don't get much load out of the fly, but it's still, you do more damage to the chest, if you will. When you're pairing sets, it's different. So as you can see here, we have our incline bench. So our first movement, or our upper body push, into our RDL or our hip hinge movement, lower body pull. So you pair upper body push and lower body pull. These do not interfere. They do not interfere. You can push very hard on an incline bench press and then go over to your incline, your RDL or your hip hinge, and you can push very hard there. You're not going to superset it. You're not going to spend 5 seconds in between exercises sprinting from machine to machine. You do your incline press, you rest, grab some water, you go over to your RDL. Rest, grab some water, go into set 2, boom. Once you perform 3 sets of each, you move to B1 and B2. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get a load of comments on this of people trying to tell me why it's good and why it's bad, but over 700 clients, I always run GBC with pretty much everyone. I ran it with myself. I have so much experience in it. Try and argue with me in the comments why it doesn't work, because it works, okay? Like I said, we have upper body push into a lower body pull. Now, that first movement, incline bench, this channel is mostly men who want to look good. If you look at my body, okay, you can see over the years where I've done like a lot of incline work, and it creates muscle across these clavicular, clavicle, collarbone fibers of the pec. It's a good look when you want to film a video in a tight vest that fits a 7-year-old like I am. It also works the front delt nicely, and it also builds what should be a tricep if I had one, okay? Upper body push into lower body pull. Now, I like the incline bench press. You can do an incline dumbbell press. You can do an incline machine press. The best incline press for you is the one that you can do, you feel in your chest, and don't get injured from. So don't shoot me saying, well, dumbbells, you get more range than barbells. Yes, I know. Do an incline dumbbell press if that's your thing. We then move to our second movement, A2, as you can see here, whichever side I put it on the screen, don't know, probably that way, is our RDL. This is a lower back loading, a spinal loading exercise, and it is brutal. You can also do these the other way, RDL into incline bench, whatever, same thing. And then we move into our B1, which is a pull down, and our B2, which is a squat variation, but I've gone for a hack squat because when you load the spine with the RDL, you don't then want to load the spine with a squat, for example. So A2, spinal loading hip hinge, B2, non-spinal loading leg movement, quad movement. So leg press, hack squat, pendulum. Then you have C1 and C2, which is going to be a row, a horizontal row. So we've already got our vertical pull, and then we have our horizontal pull. That's all you need for the back. You've got the RDL in there as well for your lower back. The whole back is cooked. And our C2 movement is our overhead movement. Okay, I'm going to break these down in a second. I just want to dive in here. Then D1 and D2 is going to be delts and arms. Think lateral raise, rear delt fly, bicep curl, tricep push down, okay? So let's start from the top. With the incline press, you want to have that movement. We're going to run it for 3 sets, okay? Any rep range, I'm going to do all the rep range at the end, but it's somewhere between 8 and 15, okay? I would really recommend going as hard as possible across all 3 sets, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. You don't do 10 reps, set 1 kind of hard, set 2 kind of hard, then set 3 you go for it. No, you reverse pyramid style training, which I've made videos on before. You push really hard in set 1, drop the load a little bit in set 2, push really hard in set 2, drop the load a little bit, push really hard in set 3. All 3 sets as close to failure as possible. You'll notice when this trains the whole body, okay? Now, your lower back, if you RDL properly, will be very fatigued. But then you have a pull down, and then you have a squat movement, which is spine supported, like a hack or something. So your lower back has time to recover. And then we go into a spinal loading row. That's why I've chosen the T-bar row. That can be a barbell row. And then we have our overhead press, which is ideally going to be like a dumbbell press or a military press. D1 and D2, think lateral raise, bicep curl, cable curl. Again, I'm not going to tell you the best bicep movement to do for your biceps, but it's some sort of whatever curl you feel, either a bicep curl, hammer curl, preacher curl, cable curl, and then triceps push down overhead. It's pretty standard, right? That is session A. Then we move into session B. Same kind of thing here, guys. We have our flat press as an A1. We then go into a squat variation, which is going to be our A2, okay? So remember what we did in the session before. So your flat press or a slight incline press is fine. Wouldn't incline press Monday, incline press Wednesday. Your incline press Monday, maybe a flat press. Again, let me just dive through it. Okay, we have a flat press into our barbell squat. So that is a spinal loading squat pattern, like an actual squat or a front squat. So your B1 and B2, you're gonna leave the lower back out of it, okay? So your B2, your B1, sorry, is gonna be a chest supported row, because you're not gonna go into a T-bar row after doing a squat when your lower back is fatigued, because you won't be able to lift much load. Your lower back will be the limiting factor in the T-bar row or the spinal row. So you then move into a chest supported row, seated row, machine row, something where you can really isolate the back and not have to worry about your fatigued lower back from the squat. And then our second movement, our B2, is going to be a dip variation. You know me by now, I'm a big fan of dips, weighted dips, bench dips, machine dips, whichever kind of, wherever you are on that ladder. If you can't do weighted dips, you do dips. Can't do dips, you do machine dips, you do, you know, a bench dip or maybe even a push-up. Then you have C1 and C2, which C1 is going to be a hamstring curl movement, prone hamstring curl, seated hamstring curl. It's all kind of the same. C2 will be a vertical pull. So there we have our 2 pressing exercises. We have our 2 leg movements in there. We have our vertical pull and horizontal pull. And then D1 and D2, again, you finish with your weakness, like delts and arms, maybe calves, things like that. Again, if you did a rear delt fly on session A, you'd do a lateral raise in session B. If you did a hammer curl in session 1, you'd do a normal curl in session 2. It doesn't matter. What matters is you get stronger over time, which I'm going to get into. Then we move into session C. Now, this is slightly different to the other sessions because this is unique, where you have 2 days off after this. Those 2 days off are where you build muscle and growth. When you go back to session A on Monday, you're fresh and ready to go. We don't want to go into it extremely sore. Slightly different format here. We have A1 and A2. We have an overhead press, so a shoulder biased movement to begin with some upper pec fibers if you lean back slightly in the overhead press, which everyone does, with a hip hinge here. Now, the hip hinge here, we can't do a Romanian deadlift with the barbell because we have it on Monday, but we can do a dumbbell Romanian deadlift or an incline hyper. A dumbbell Romanian deadlift is not as taxing as a barbell. Anyone that has training experience will tell you that. And the incline hyper is a great posterior chain builder, as well as your glutes as well. Okay, so that's A1 and A2. We then move into our B1 and B2. Our B1 is going to be a vertical pull again. Now, and then our B2 is going to be a lunge variation. Do you get where I'm going with this? So the legs get hit in every session, quads and hams or quads and glutes. We hit chest, we hit the whole body across every session. We don't hit it with a crazy amount of volume. We hit it with a high amount of frequency, lower volume, a lot of intensity. Very good way to build muscle as you're starting out, okay? The lunge variation is going to be a lunge, a split squat, or a Bulgarian split squat based on your experience. The vertical pull should always be here, pulling here. Ideally, it's a chin up. It's a neutral grip chin up. We're not doing a wide grip pull up here where we just go to here and don't actually target the lats because we stop. We need to bring this elbow to here. So you need to be here. That's why I like a neutral grip pull down or an underhand pull down or an assisted chin up, somewhere in this range. Try and avoid being here when you do your pull downs and avoid being here when you do your pull downs. Okay. So that's our B1 and B2. And then our C1 and C2, we're going to go into a press, ideally like a flat or a low incline press, because we've already worked the upper fibers of the pec with the overhead press. And then we go into our C movement, which is C1 is incline press or flat press. And then C2 is going to be another row. Now, with that row, we want that to be a back supported row again, because we've just come out of the hip hinge movement, but we know we're going to have 2 days to recover. Okay, so you don't need to load your rows. If you're doing a hip hinge movement, anytime you then go into a row, like a horizontal row, ideally you want it to be chest supported. Otherwise, your back just can't do it. And we can't lift the load we need to progress and build muscle. And then D1 and D2, again, is delts and arms. Okay. Session A, session B, session C. That's the breakdown. Now, why do I rave about this? Okay. This, in my opinion, like I said, I've coached hundreds of people one-to-one like this, and I've coached hundreds of people online, men and women. I've got results. I'll have some of the results pop on the screen. Everyone trains either 3 days a week or 4 days a week with me. If you look at my coaching, my premium coaching package, which is in the description below, it's all 3 days a week or 4 days a week. I don't have people training 6-7 times a week. This is so effective because number one, it gives you a life outside of the gym, important. Number two, you're in and you're out within an hour, so you can actually build muscle, do what you need to do, focus on big compound lifts, and then get out. You have 4 days off to recover, which is important because we need days off to recover. Now, in terms of how we should look at our rep ranges, okay? Now, I'm a big fan, guys, of reverse pyramid training, okay? This means you don't do 50 for 10, 60 for 10, 70 for 10, yeah? Like I see most people do. You do 70 for 10, 60 for 10, 50 for 10. And that drop from 70 kilos to 60 kilos is needed because you should be absolutely destroyed getting to the 10 reps. Set one is absolute maximum failure within a rep, like 1 rep shy of failure, okay? You shouldn't be able to do 70 for 10, let's say we're squatting, right? And then do 70 for 10 again. If that's the case, why did you only do 70 for 10 in set one? You obviously had more if you then took a minute off and did it in set two. So you want to start with your heaviest weight for about 8 to 10 reps. Then want to drop the weight by 10, 15, 20%, and then go 10 to 12 reps. Then drop the weight 10, 15%, go 12 to 15 reps. So we're going hard and heavy between that 8 to 15 rep range. And set one is our big set where we PB. We do not PB in set three. You should be tied in set three. It should be your worst set. How do you PB? If you PB in set three, imagine what you could have done in set one. You left 10% of the progress on the table. So that's the rep range we should follow. A question I get asked a lot is, what about, am I trying to get a pump? Is it all about getting a pump? No, it's about building strength across big key lifts that adds muscle and density to your physique. And we do that by training with intensity, pushing ourselves to failure, and training heavy relative to you. My heavy squat might be different to your heavy squat. Now, if you're watching this saying, well, that sounds great, Max, but my lower back's fucked and I can't do squats, that's fine. Don't squat, do a leg press, do a hack squat, do a pendulum. Well, I can't hip hinge because of my back. Don't hip hinge. Do an incline hyper, do a back extension. But bit of advice, find out why you're so weak, find out why you can't squat and deadlift, fix the obvious weakness in your core, lower back, around the area, and then slowly integrate squatting and deadlifting back into your routine so you can actually have some strength. If you're in your 20s or 30s and you can't do a squat because your lower back hurts, good luck at 60. Now, focus on strength. If you train hard in that 8 to 15 rep range, you will be extremely pumped. Don't worry about the pump, it's just blood flow. If you did 50 push-ups in the morning, you would have a great chest pump. Do you build loads of muscle? No, unless you're a beginner, you never trained before, but then you couldn't do 50 push-ups anyway. Rest days, we grow outside of the gym, obviously. 4 days off. 4 days off is where we build muscle, okay? Now, core and calves. D1 and D2, can chuck a D3 in there and get some calves in, okay? If that's your thing, you want to train calves. In terms of core, I would recommend training core before your workout or after your workout or on days off. It's a whole different concept. Muscles, you can't just do, I have people do crunches in between sets. So imagine you're doing an incline press into a squat. You go incline press, then you do some crunches, and then you go and squat where you're putting 100 kilos on your back and asking so much of your lower back and abs. No. Train core either before or after or on days off, okay? Cardio, where does it fit into this routine? Big fan of cardio post-workout, so you don't have to train twice, or you put your cardio as far away from your training as possible. You never do a cardio pre-workout. You don't warm up with cardio. You warm up with the movements you are about to perform. Cardio is done post-workout or in the evening or in the morning, far away from training as possible, or on days off, okay? Guys, this is an unbelievably effective way to build a great physique, okay? With minimal time in the gym. Most people have great success with it because they can actually stick to it. That's a big part of this. Imagine being able to stick to a plan. The best plan, really, if I have you on the greatest 5-day training split ever that your favorite movie star does whilst taking gear without telling you, and he does it for 12 weeks, or if you did this plan and you can hold it for 12 months, you will build way more muscle. If you're in a bulking phase or a cutting phase, the plan stays the same. The movements stay the same. Everything stays the same, except if you're in a bulking phase, you eat more food. If you're in a dieting phase, you eat less food and do more cardio. That is it. Training stays the same. Guys, if you want my help with this stuff, I will build your own GBC program out for you. I'll help with your nutrition. You'll be on calls with me every week. We'll be checking in every single day. My premium coaching it's not cheap, but I've got over 80 guys in there that take this stuff seriously. I'm getting great results, as you've seen before. And I've also got my course if you just want a blueprint on how to train, everything broken down into really simple videos. 35 different videos for you guys there, super cheap, all in the link below. But if not, you don't have to get anything. It's all good. The fact that you're watching this video is enough for me, and I'll see you in the next one.